Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by last year's FPL champion Jonas to preview Game Week 2. Jonas, before we get into Game Week 2, first of all, how was Game Week 1 for you? Obviously you can see on screen your rank. Not the best, but it's only one game week.
Yeah, Game Week 1 was not that great. It could have been a different story if, for instance, Newcastle didn't get a red card. Bruno converted some of his chances, and the SA that free kick was not disallowed. So all in all, I'm fine.
Do you remember actually last year what your Game Week 1 or just generally how you started the first few game weeks? I think actually I remember when you came on the channel in pre-season, you said that you didn't have an unbelievable start, but by a few game weeks in, by 10 or so game weeks in, you were doing really well.
Yeah, well, I think I was around somewhere between 1 and 2 million after the first game week.
Okay.
And after that, I went on like a crazy spell, and in game week 5 or something, I was ranked like 23,000. Then the week or two after, I dropped down to like 200,000. Then I wildcarded and saw like 10 consecutive green arrows.
So just because you had a bad, or not bad, but an average Game Week 1 doesn't really mean too much for in terms of determining how good your season is going to be. However, the important news that we have to tell the people is you've made a transfer.
Yep, I have. I knew the consequences with going Quansah. But it would have been a different story if Arne Slot didn't sub him at halftime. He probably wouldn't have fallen in price, and I probably wouldn't have had to do a transfer. But since my bench consists of Barco and Pedro Porro, who might be a doubt, I haven't seen any updates yet. I didn't want to sit with potentially only two defenders for Game Week 2. So I moved Quansah to Robinson,
Oh,
Fulham,
okay.
who I basically only need for like presumably the next two game weeks. And he has Leicester at home and Ipswich away, which are pretty nice fixtures.
Yeah. So how come you landed on him? Now it's worth saying that when I make this transfer, it's going to show as Jonas having minus 0.1, but he made this move before the fall, which was last night, as he said. So it's completely fine. But yeah, just going back to your decision making, quite a few players here on Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points, the 4.5 million defenders that were pretty close in terms of what the hub expected them to do over the next 4 game weeks. So how come you ended with Robinson?
Well, I kind of like, even though I didn't own actually any Fulham players last season, I still like Fulham to a degree, and especially with those two pretty nice fixtures. And he is an attacking fullback, so I thought, why not? He doesn't have the best numbers, but he doesn't have bad numbers either. So I'm happy going with him. I did consider other options as well. I did consider Rico Lewis, but I felt like that was just the Quansah mistake once again.
Yeah.
So I opted without. If my bench consisted of, I know a lot of people went not Barco, but Dunk and Winks over Rogers and Barco. Maybe I could have tried doing that because I think he could go pretty big next week against the Ipswich, if he starts. That is.
What would you say? I guess for managers that might have had a slightly stronger bench than you, or at least with the Barco sort of doubts now about him potentially going to Sevilla. That's an issue. If you've got both Barco and Quansah as your kind of bench options, you're not leaving much room there for any sort of news, injury, change in form. But for those that might have had a deeper bench than you, what would you recommend for people that still have Quansah now? Just keep him and see what happens.
Well, Quansah could still start. It's just
Yeah.
uncertainty I don't like. And as I said earlier, potentially sitting on only two defenders next game week, and one of them being Quansah playing against Arsenal.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to be fair. You don't really want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about the rest of your team. Porro. Any news on him? Slight injury doubt from the end of last game. What do you reckon?
I haven't seen anything. I guess I'll just have to wait until the press conference and see what Ange says about him. But I haven't seen any updates. I haven't seen him in training. I haven't seen anything. I might have missed it as well, but
No, I
yeah,
don't think there's been anything concrete. I will say from my perspective, I'm so 100% sure he will play.
hopefully.
And I'm not a doctor, but I have dislocated both my ankles before, and I know like when you roll them, it's bad at the time, but if it's not that bad, you can easily play the next week. Just get some ice on it.
Mhm.
I'd be shocked. I'll delete this YouTube channel if he doesn't play next game. How about that? Wow.
I wouldn't bet on that.
No, me neither. Me neither. But yeah, moving on from Poro, rest of your team. Unlucky, obviously, with Bruno and Eze. Bruno, especially, over 1 xg, most shots, I think, or maybe second to Eze in the game week. Pretty insane. How are you feeling about him now? Because looking at the fixtures, Brighton away, Liverpool at home, it's pretty tough next two, really.
I'm still confident in him.
Okay,
I think he's still the same player, and he has the numbers at least this season so far. And I still trust in him. And as long as he still has the penalties, I think he could be a viable option for at least until when I'm playing to wild card.
when do you reckon you're going to plan to wildcard? Have you got that in your mind, or is that still quite loose?
It's most probably game week 6. I
Yeah,
will have to wait and see. It could be game week 4 as well. But
sure.
I kind of like the idea of a game week 6 wild card.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And then Nkunku, maybe he is slightly more of an issue than Eze and Fernand. Well, Eze is not an issue. Fernand is not really an issue. Let's be honest. But yeah, Nkunku is not similar to Quansah in terms of a minute's doubt, because I do think he's going to keep his place in the team, and I would expect his minutes to go up. But unlike Eze and Bruno, who are just completely nailed, Nkunku has to be more of a worry.
Hmm. Well, he is. He got subbed at like 58 minutes against
Yeah,
City. I think none of us expected him to get a goal or an assist against City. It was just he had the upside potentially. Hopefully, he could get into that 10 slot and play there. But I'll just have to wait and see because Chelsea play on, is it Thursday? They play in Europe.
yeah, against Servette, who everyone's heard of. No disrespect, but I mean, wow. That's I will say, like, it doesn't really depend. It doesn't really matter too much who plays in that game. I think personally, just because if say Nkunku plays 60 minutes again, I would still expect him to start the next game. I still think fitness is quite a big thing at this time in the season, and especially given that the opposition, we really should be beating that team no matter who we play. So I don't necessarily think that who plays will be conducive to work out who's going to play on the weekend. But if someone plays 90, it's obviously not good.
And we will just have to wait and see. And
Yeah,
he might pick up an injury. We don't know.
that is true.
I,
That is a
I
good point.
most probably won't. Well, I won't take a hit this game week either way. So I've done my transfer, and that's all.
Yeah. To be fair, with Rodgers on the bench, and he looked great. Obviously not a great fixture at home to Arsenal, but if he plays 90 again, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I'll take that. Villa are a good team as well.
Let's move on to talking about Haaland and your captaincy this week. Obviously Haaland's the obvious captain if you own him, but have you thought at all about using the triple captainship?
I'm probably waiting until double game week. I think using the triple captainship is viable, but I just think it's more safe using it in a double game week.
That's true. But what if there aren't enough doubles for all these chips that we have this year? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I have thought about that, but I'll still just have to wait and see. We will hope for more doubles or more doubles than expected at
Yeah.
least with
Yeah.
no FA Cup replays. But yeah, hopefully a lot of doubles, and I won't have to triple captain this game week. And I never thought about it either.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Now, normally at this point in the video, I would look at your AI recommended transfers, but you've already made your transfer, so it's not really too much point in doing that. To be fair,
Really, we could do it just for the sake of it, though.
I mean, we could do it anyway, and see what it's saying now that you've done the Quansah Robinson move. What the next move potentially could be. Actually, yeah, let's do that. That's an interesting shout. Okay, so actually, yeah, interestingly, there is a solid recommendation for you,
Right.
which is Bruno Fernandes out for Jota. How about that?
Well, as I said, I won't do further transfers this week.
No,
I'm not sure if Jota is nailed on for as long as I'd want him to, while Bruno is. And I've mentioned earlier that I've had too many minute doubts in my team. I just don't think I can get another one, and that's one of the reasons I went Robinson as well, who
Yeah.
averaged like I think he averaged 88 minutes per start last season.
Wow, that's ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess the thing with Jota now is, as we can see by his predicted points on the right, I think Fantasy Football Hub is a little bit more bullish now on his expected minutes, just because, like for example, Darwin didn't even get on the pitch last game. Obviously, Jota did come off early, but not that early. And if he keeps scoring, it's going to be very hard to give him a rest or drop him. And if he does get to, if he gets to game week 4, and we're like, we're confident he's still going to be in the team, then 4 and 5 are going to be hard to ignore, especially if most people do end up moving towards Salah. Then obviously you've unlocked a Liverpool slot now by getting rid of Quansah. Would he possibly be on your mind come game week 4 if he's still in the team?
I'll have to see really.
Yeah.
It all depends if he looks nailed or not. But I think Arne Slot will rotate a bit more than what Jurgen Klopp did.
Okay.
I think he's talked about that as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, guys, if you would like your own recommendations, then maybe you still have Quansah, maybe you're not sure what to do, maybe you have the likes of Bruno and Kunku, and you're thinking of potentially getting rid of them in a couple of weeks, or it's on your mind anyway. Not saying you have to do it, but food for thought as always with the recommendations. Then sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, link down below. It's still 50% off at the time of recording. You still get a 7-day free trial, and you still will win your mini league. Sorry, well, you will win your mini league, of course. But if you don't win your mini league, then you will get all your money refunded to you. I think the deadline for that is near the end of September. So yeah, don't have too long. You don't have too long for that one. But yeah. Make sure to sign up if you haven't done so already. Guys, also, if you do sign up, you'll get access to loads and loads of unbelievable data, like all these Opta stats. You also get points predictions right here. I'm just going to click through everything because there is so much. Fixture Analyzer, one of my favorite things. I show this in most videos these days, Jonas. Just an easy way to have a look at who has actually got the best fixtures, rather than just looking at it on paper. We've got the attack and defense here, stars showing who's got the best fixtures for their attack, for their defense. What I love as well is that you can set the game week range up here. So say you are thinking of a game week 6 wildcard, if you only see the next 4 now, then it obviously changes, and Fulham jump right up, and that's why you've obviously gone for Robinson, or one of the main reasons why you've gone for Robinson. Player comparison, if you're not sure about two individual players, that's a great way of doing it. I mean, let's actually do this quickly for Robinson and Lewis, the two players that you said were not relatively close, I suppose, because you went for Robinson in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, not really. Only got this year's data here already. But looking at the heat map, for example, from the first game and predicted points, and everything, and then the upcoming fixtures here as well. Lewis predicted to do well against Ipswich at home, but then, as we're not sure about his expected minutes going beyond that, it gets a little bit more tough for him. Price changes as well. If you want to keep up to date with who's going to fall, who's going to rise, then that is the way to do it. We knew that Quansah was going to fall last night, if maybe you missed that, by looking at the price changes. And yeah, pretty much, if you want everything in one spot, and of course your own team analysed as well, then Fantasy Football Hub is the place to do it. We've spoken about analytics before, Jonas. So you can do the same this year, heavily using analytics to help your team, right?
Yeah, of course. I still like analytics, and I will never stop being an analytics manager unless something even better emerges, which I doubt. So yeah, it's a mix for me. Some analytics and some of the good old eye test, really, because I really enjoy watching football.
Yeah. Off camera, Jonas was saying to me before we started, he's very much looking forward just to chilling out this weekend and watching a lot of football. I'm gonna have to miss a few games, sadly, which is very annoying. But I'll watch them back. But yeah, nothing better. Anyway, mate, thank you very much for running us through your team. Transfer locked in. Robinson is in. Makes me feel good as someone that started with him this season. That last year's champ is copying my moves. Really good to see. And yeah, guys, remember once again, sign up to Fantasy Football Hub. Good luck next game week, and I will catch you on the next one.